Good morning. Muchísimo Eugene, another video from Exit Strategy. Welcome. Hope everybody's doing good this morning. It's beautiful in upstate New York. My head is cut off. Yep. I don't know what the weather's like. It's probably about 11:30, quarter to 12 noon, and it's probably about 70 degrees. Nice breeze, perfect weather. Want to discuss with you guys today about how valid you are and how invalid things around you have become. Now, when I talk about you being valid, you being all that, you being the reason for the season, I never want to give anybody the impression, of course, if you watched my videos, I'm talking about something specifically that pertains to you as a chosen one and an empath. You don't rightfully possess the copyright or the ownership of these attributes. God does. And the narcissist sure as hell doesn't. So, but with that being said, you are, it's your inheritance. It's your God-given right to possess these things. So that being the case, it's your inheritance to be valid. You are valid. You are the validation that only you need. Unlike a narcissist, going back to fundamentals of what the narcissist is and how they became what they are is because they're seeking validation in other people. You as an empath, in times of old, you did because you were under the illusion. And in essence, I always talk about this: narcissists as a whole in this world, in this atmosphere called Earth, they they have leveraged their false identity over the world and over the masses. So essentially, they are training, recruiting, teaching, and encouraging us and enticing us on how to do all things bad. And what I mean by that doesn't mean you have to be a natural born killer or anything like that, but all of the facade, all of the illusions, all of the false confidence, the false bravado, the motivations that we have for doing the things that we've done in times past, getting out of school, getting a job, getting the big house, getting a whole bunch of kids and different things. They have took what was good and golden and biblical and beautiful, and they have tainted it. So they, in essence, think that they have the copyright over validation, the copyright over being authentic. So what they do is they manipulate authentic people in believing that they are authentic. So they're reflecting your character back to you. You know this. And so now that you're awakened, the best thing to do is just to pay attention of how these fake, false entities present themselves out of the gate. When they come in your presence, you should be able to see that their actions don't match their mouth. They move a certain way, unlike an empath or a chosen one. They are anxious people. They are obsessed over how they're perceived by people. They can't be still. They can't sit in their own space. They can't sit with themselves. And when you see these people are antsy, they will a lot of times use anxieties, depression, or all of these other mental health issues to disguise who they really are. And I've spoken about this before. And not to be offensive to people who genuinely have these issues, who are not narcissists, but you get my point. And if you don't, I pray you soon will get my point. You as an empath, if you're touchy, if you're emotionally detached or emotionally unbalanced, you will be offended by these things that a lot of us are talking about. You have to see your way out of this. You have to see your way out of this equation. Because if you start taking these videos that we're talking about specifically as they relate to narcissists, and you begin to think someone is attacking you, then that's your first problem. You have to become valid to yourself. You have to know, even though you struggle with this, that, or the other, you don't need my endorsement to solidify this this mental health challenge that you have. You go to God for that. You go to God, you ask him, you pray, and you ask him for his help and his strength, and he will heed the call. If you're sincere and if you're steadfastly trying to get from where you are to where you're trying to go, he will help you. Trust and believe. So never ever take a lot of the things that you hear that may describe you being depressed, being having anxiousness, anxieties. All of that comes from trauma. But not all people that deal with these traumas are narcissists. Some of us, like myself, I've gone through traumas in life. It has made me into the person I am in a better way, in a beautiful way. And a lot of us, not so much so. But if you're not a narcissist, you still have room for improvement. That's the big difference. So you're valid in and of yourself because God's made you valid. Narcissists are seeking validation through you. They are invalid. They need you to be valid. You know this. Once you realize this, when you cease and desist, you detach from them, you watch. You watch the cards fall. You watch the cookie crumble. And I see a lot of narcissists from the past who I've been acquainted with. And I'm going to speak specifically as it pertains to a lot of females. I've been acquainted with them, not intimately, just interacting verbally and socially. And I see them now today. I move a certain way. I observe. I engage in a different way. And they all too much know that there is something different with me. Because I know that there is something undeniable about them. And in a big way, they scatter. A lot of them don't even know I know what I know. They don't know what I study. They don't know what I'm involved in. They don't know the awakening to the degree I'm awakened. But they do know there's something different about me and you. So if you ever run across people from the past and you notice that they're moving around differently, they move a certain way now because you're moving differently, you know why. And that's the covering. That's the hedge of protection God is putting over you. A lot of people, you don't even need to explain the new version of who you are. They already know. They recognize. They recognize. So what they're doing is they are actually trying to see if they can leverage on this newfound appearance that they see in you. And a lot of them, they would just as soon say, I'm just going to pull the plug. And they'll avoid you. You'll see them in stores. They're avoiding you. And if you by chance happen to run into them and you strike up a general conversation, or most often you don't, they do, because they are awkward. They feel awkward. They have to say, hey, what have you been up to? And again, they just want to extract an update. They just want an update to kind of put the pieces to the puzzle, because in your appearance, you look different, you seem different, you move different. So they need for you to bring them up to speed. And you give them a bland, general reply or answer. You say, nothing much. You don't even say this. You can say the same thing, same as always. And they'll continue to persist. And you just say nothing much. Are you still doing landscaping? Sometimes. You give them that, I'm not even interested in this conversation you're trying to have. You give them that impression. You give them that aura. You give them that energy. And it's not even in a rude way. It's in a matter-of-fact way. Because again, you have validated yourself from the work you've done inside of yourself. You see yourself from the inside looking out. You don't measure your life and the progress of your life from the outside of the things around you. This is what most people are doing. And I always say you can't outrun yourself. And this is what people are doing. They're trying to outrun themselves because they're measuring themselves by what this or that one has. There's a peace that God says will surpass all understanding. And I believe that peace is when you find out who you are as God's created you from the inside out, meaning your essence, meaning your stability mentally, emotionally, spiritually, physically, and academically. You are very much okay with where you are. Even though you may want to improve, you're still okay with where you are, because you know that that is a humble beginning. That is a good blank slate to start. And a lot of people won't go back to the drawing board. They fear that they may be put a little bit behind in the race, that they may lose something of significance. And that's why the Bible talks about a man who loses his life shall find it. And that's essentially what we need to do as empaths and chosen ones who have been chosen of God. That's what that means. You've been chosen of God to do a specific work, his work. And don't get twisted about the religion now, okay? Because a lot of you shy away from it. When someone talks about God or anything spiritual, you shy away from it. I want to be honest with you. If you want to get healed quickly, rapidly, you let God into your life and in your heart. He will show you some things that you could never see in any other way. And you could thump every book, motivational speaker on YouTube or whatever. You could do all this stuff you want, and all it's going to do is just cloud what God is trying to clear in you. He wants you to come back to a humility, to square one, and just up and say, I don't know. Just like we resort to these self-help books, these motivational books, we sit around in Barnes and Noble to appear like we're intellectual. And that's a nightmare of a situation too. If you've ever been in a Barnes and Noble, that is a melting pot of I'm somebody. But when I was going through family court, I frequent that place because it was a refuge to me. I was there for all the right reasons. And it really did help me understand a lot of things through the books that I began to read, because I knew what I was after. And if you know what you're after, motivational speakers and self-help books it's not a problem. But if you're using something to band-aid what only God can heal, you're actually taking the long way home, is my point. So just really let God into your life and give him a chance. I know the church may have abused the privilege of leadership, and they have manipulated you in some way, shape, or form. But hey, such is life. Man is here to do that. The powers of darkness rule this earth. But you are a light worker. You're a chosen one. You are an empath. You are the one that God has equipped to right the wrongs. So go back to square one. Go back to the drawing board. Seek to know nothing in order to know all things through God. So you guys have a wonderful day, and I'll talk to you soon. Bless.